got was they were not nearly as detailed or as bad situations as some of all the girl stuff that I heard.
Okay, so tell me what you think about this thought that I shared with a couple of friends recently.
Lay it on me.
So I was talking about the difference between kind of like trying to, like, I guess, approach or date, be involved with or whatever on both ends, the sexes. So I feel like on the hand of like dating men, it's like you have to have some type of aspect that like impresses them. But with women, it's like you have to really talk to them and like...
Oh, you got to bring it.
Yeah, you really have to like bring good conversation. You really have to talk and be able to like just say... You have to be able to say something. You can't just come and like not have like any weight to what you're talking about. Because like, hey girl doesn't work anymore. And like, oh, hey purple shirt, your ass is fat. Like that doesn't work.
So are you talking about like in terms of like an actual date, or just like when you match with somebody on an app or something like that, and you gotta like get creative with your holler?
As far as like approach and maintaining their interest in the beginning. So it's like you're saying that the men's responses weren't as detailed as the women's. It's because like men's expectations are kind of like surface deep, whereas women are like they expect more out of the date. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, no, I guess that kind of goes along with it. Cause first, okay, this goes down to, I think, gender norms. You know, like what's the male's, what is his role in this thing called dating and everything, courting women, all that type of stuff. And so I gotta say, though, most of the dudes that responded to this, all they really had to say, and I talked to my guy friends about it, and they were like, their main complaint that I heard most of the time was like, oh, she was kind of boring, and as opposed to women where they had like these elaborate stories, like the cops were called and I got drunk, their friend was there, and all types of stuff, and we'll get into those in a minute. And
that makes sense. She was boring, but it was that she didn't have something in particular that just like immediately caught his attention.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's like or
kept his attention.
I mean, there's appearances and everything, but I gotta say, like, I'm just, maybe it's a complaint. I don't know. Maybe I don't want to get canceled or anything, but I think as a dude, you really have to bring it, and in terms of many things, like the dude has to pick a spot. They don't have to, but generally gotta pay, and you have to carry a whole conversation, even if this person across the table from you is boring as shit.
I could see that. Like, yeah, a lot when it comes to dating is like expected of men, but at the same time, like, I don't know, personally, I don't know. I just don't think I'm as like, what's the word I'm looking for? High maintenance, I guess, of a date as some can be.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like I can't really relate on some levels of what like other women expect, because like when we do go out on a date, like I am going to be prepared to pay for myself. Like even if that's not his like thing, I need to be prepared for that, because I don't know, everybody's mentality on dating is different now.
Okay, I'm gonna throw some scenarios at you, because that kind of one little thread of all the detailed stories I heard from women. One recurring thing always kind of came up is something about money always came up. It's always something. I don't think it was ever like, oh, I had to pay for everything. It was always like, I had to pay for myself, or I had to pay for something. I had to pay for something. Can you believe that? Like
the audacity.
I was like, dude, well, and I mean, it's 2020. I'm not gonna say the everything is equal, but the wage gap is getting smaller and smaller by the year. Women are running businesses. They're sports stars. They're doing they're doing a bunch of stuff. They're leaders, all types of stuff. They're coaches for fucking football teams. 49ers, too bad. Anyways, but I'm not saying they lost because they had okay.
I can't talk in that argument.
No, but I think it's crazy how I don't think it's crazy, but just thinking about how some of the things, like some of the gender norms, like women really want to break down, like, yo, we can run our own business, we can do this ourselves, we can do everything ourselves, just like men can do. But still don't want to pay. Like they don't want to let that part of tradition go.
Some, yeah. I definitely, being an active Twitter user, there's definitely a large community of women out there that are like, if he's not paying for it, he's not for me. And like, I don't know. You're right. Like, what's the point in trying so hard to be like this big bossed up person if then you're like, but take care of me?
Right.
I feel like, I don't know, my personal view, like, he's supposed to be an addition, not the whole, provider.
Well, yeah.
Like, this person should be adding to what I already have. And if he wants to, like, treat me to whatever, like, that's really nice. And thank you. And it's appreciated.
Yeah.
But I don't expect it.
Yeah. And also for the men, just because you pay for stuff doesn't mean you should be expecting all this shit at the end.
True.
Which,
that's a lot of people's mentality as well.
Well, yeah. So
that's another reason why, though, for me personally, like, I also am weird about letting people pay for certain stuff, because it's like, I don't want you to feel like I'm in debt to you or I owe you like anything.
So yeah. So what's okay. I'll give you one scenario. So about 4 or 5 years ago, I went out on a date with this girl. First date, she was new in town. We were texting. I was telling her, so where do you want to go? You want to go eat somewhere? First of all, I don't know, like, I don't know when it became the guy's job to pick a place to eat. I don't know when that happened. I don't know if somebody thinks it's manly. There's nothing manly about looking up bistros and tapas.
No, I guess it's like an element of like,
it just goes back
romance.
to the. I think it goes back. I guess romance, but I think it goes back to the norms, because back in the 50s, the dude would have to pay for everything, and if it's like, I'm gonna pay for it, we're gonna go where I want to go. Mm-hmm. That makes sense to me, at least in the fucking 50s. I get it, and like and also the dude's probably like, "Hey, man, she's a woman. She barely makes any money. Let me just got this, okay?" But it's different now. So okay, I suggest, look, I was like, "You like Thai food?" She's like, "Yeah, I like Thai food." She was like, "Oh," she's like, "Where's a place to eat around here?" I was like, "There's Sabai, there's my noodle bar. There's tons of spots." And she's like, "What's the prices like?" I was like, "Oh, it's probably like between 11 and like $11 to $13 dishes." She was like, "Oh, well, is there someplace else that we could go that's a little cheaper?" I was like, "I guess we can go to Thai Diner 2 from Carytown. It's a little cheaper. It's not as good." I was like, I'll pay for everything. It's cool. Like, don't worry about it." And she's like, "No, well, I'm a feminist, and I really don't want to." Yeah, she just threw it out there. I was like, "I'm a feminist." She's like, "I'm a feminist, and I just, I want to pay for myself, and I don't want to feel like I owe you anything." And I was like, "Well, I get it. However, why do I have to eat shittier Thai food because you're a broke ass feminist?"
Oh God.
Like, you fucking explain this shit to me. Like, why?
Valid.
I was asking you. Okay. You're like, what's with that?
Especially if you offered to pay.
I offered to pay, and I don't expect. I was like, yo, I'm like, I don't expect, like, it's a first date. I don't expect to take you home or anything. I'm just like, I'm trying to do my duties as a man.
I don't know. There's just like a period of time where that feminist thing, like, I don't know. I feel like it's died down a little bit here. Maybe people have like kind of regained the legitimate definition versus like just using it to be.
Well, that's one thing about feminism. It's hard for, first of all, it's hard for dudes to
grasp the concept.
But I think they got the basics down.
Strong, independent women.
Yeah, it's like, cool. I heard that Beyonce song. Cool. But what, Destiny's Child? Yeah. But Charlie's Angels. Yeah. I forgot what I was gonna say. God damn it. Yeah, it's
men grasping the concept of feminism.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Jeez. Oh, we said. Yeah. But feminism as a whole, first, feminism has like a few different waves. I mean, there was the basic, like, get the right to vote, wage gap, and like, I think everybody gets that. Like, everybody should have their basic human rights. And it came down to like, and this is something I I had to learn through I'm 30 now. Can you believe that? I had to learn through my 20s a lot about women. I just can't. Now I'm 30. I realize I don't know anything. But I guess this feminism has branched off in a couple different branches. Because it's not all. First of all, I mean, we've all seen feminists arguing with each other. That's all weird because it's strange. It's like there's one point of like you need to respect your body and da 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 da. There's another hand, it's like, oh, I'll fuck anybody who I want, which I get both. Yeah, I understand both, but it's as a guy, like I guess you gotta pick a side or something like that. I don't know, and I have feminist traits. I believe in feminism. I'm just not fucking annoying about it, but. I'm trying to figure it out because and the whole sexuality thing, I had a hard time figuring it out in my 20s because I was because I guess the word polyamorous is like a thing now, huh? It's like and correct me if I'm wrong, but like because like I guess dudes have been polyamorous for years, but they don't use that word, They're just like, yeah, I don't have a girlfriend, I have sex with a bunch of people. Yeah. But if a girl has that mentality, she's a hoe.
I hate that.
Well, yeah, no, it's and honestly, and they get it from all the ends too. It's not just guys are like, that are like, oh, she sleeps with guys, she's a hoe. Girls, on the other hand, are also like, she sleeps with a bunch of guys, she's a hoe.
Yeah, some are like that, definitely. But then, like you said, there's that whole, like, there's really, and I guess it's just always been this community, but I see it more, I guess, well, we see everything more now with social media, but there's just like a huge sexually proud community of women that's just like, it's on one hand I know that it's probably like intimidating and like scary to some people who like aren't used to that, but then on the other hand it's like totally cool and like beautiful to see people just be like, it's not that big a deal, it's not, oh, I'm not gonna like burn in hell for eternity because I like pleasure.
Well, yeah, totally. No, I get that. I feel bad too because it was because these I mean, they're not hurting anybody, and like, how come this dude can sleep with a bunch of girls, and he's like the man, and she sleeps with a bunch of dudes, and she's a slut, And
why people? Why?
Yeah, I'm just I'm and like, why are we all get mad at the community that puts out? I thought we liked these girls. I thought that's who we were looking for,
right?
And those these other people are like, oh, those girls, the other girls are like that are, fucking, what's the word? Prude or whatever. They're like, oh, these girls are ruining it for everybody. It's like, wait, whoa, you could put out too. It's like,
everybody just be safe. Get checked.
Yeah.
Make sure you're using protection and just be safe about it. I
gotta say, like, so there's one thing to be said about like girls who just kind of, like to get off and everything, but they're on the other side of, the coin, there's actual girls who are just like, yeah, those are all my boyfriends. Which that part of me is
too much work.
I can't be around a lot of people. I don't get it. I don't want to deal with that many people. I have like 3 friends. I don't need any more.
I know someone who it was a guy who was kind of just like, he knew that he had like different like he connected with certain people on different levels. So like he had one girl who he knew they both really enjoyed to connect over food. So like they always went on like food dates together. Mm-hmm. This other girl, they were movie heads together. They both really like to talk about flicks or whatever. So they go to the movies together. Like those particular, it's like, who you can do certain activities with, but none was he really claiming as like his girlfriend.
Well, see, that's where I get confused too when I hear some of these folks because they're like, yeah, I'm polyamorous. I'm like, no, you're single.
Millennial dating is very, very different, and that's why like day after day I really question like, because on some days I'm really like, oh, I miss being in a relationship, and then other days I'm just like, wow, I'm so empowered and happy to be single, and it's like, in the midst of all of it, watching other people date makes me like not want to date. It just seems like
Oh yeah. Well, we've all seen